Morimens is a deck-building roguelite gacha game about the indescribable Lovecraftian horrors that lie just outside the human consciousness and the horrifying effects these creatures have in a legally distinct, definitely not London world, in which we engage in everyday popular British pastimes, such as beating up orphans, solving the housing crisis, and killing an interdimensional creature beyond our human comprehension, all in the name of curing the second coming of the bubonic plague. We do this, of course, by using the two biggest repellents known to anime fans: reading comprehension and appropriately aged women. If you're thinking to yourself, wow, this game seems pretty neat, I strongly encourage you to reconsider. Not because this is a bad game, I actually think this is a very good game, but voicing my opinions online has never done any good for me. No, it's because the localization for this game is virtually non-existent. You see, this is BIAB Studios' first game and was developed with very tight budget constraints. So, in order to reach the widest audience possible, the dev team decided to forego the route of hiring a localization team, and instead has opted to use machine translation. In spite of this, the story is one of the most compelling things that I have read in a while, and has had me sobbing at 4 AM because I stupidly got emotionally attached to fictitious anime characters on my screen. I do not exaggerate when I say that the story is one of the strongest points of the game, which is shocking since we gacha game players are 90% illiterate. Despite this game being a turn-based card game, it's home to some of the most chaotic and absolutely batshit insane fights I have ever seen, which makes every single boss fight not only super satisfying to complete, but also makes you feel like you've just solved a calculus textbook. If this anti-British propaganda has sparked your interest, then stick around so that I may give you the full Morimens experience. Before I get into the lore, or the gameplay, or the mechanics, there is one thing that is more important above anything else that we must first discuss, and that is the means by which we get our colorful cast of characters. I, of course, am referring to the gacha, because in 2025, a game's monetization is more important than its gameplay. For most of you, you're probably well aware of gacha games and the pitfalls that come with them, but for the small portion of the audience that somehow doesn't know, what the hell are you doing here? And also, welcome to the most important part of the game, the gambling. Let's say, for example, that I want to use the unknowable and slumbering goddess. She just kind of lives under a university and chills here for nearly all of eternity. I would have to spend a currency for a 3% chance at pulling the character I want. Now, to most normal and sane people, a 3% at any odds are pretty abysmal rates, but to us mobile game gambling experts, a 3% base odd is actually much higher than most games on the market at the moment. You know what they say about gamblers? 99% of them stop before their balance looks like their asshole. That is to say, a perfect circle. So do as I have done and take out a business loan and pull for that character you really want, because what you do in your free time is your business alone. The bank literally cannot stop you. Or live with the harsh reality that some of you won't be as good at gambling as I am. Now witness as I, the master of gambling, promptly fuck up and not pull the character I want after 200 pulls. Normally, investing this much into a single banner would financially, spiritually, and mentally ruin me to the point where I would probably delete my account and restart the game. However, the devs of this game understand what makes my brain fire on all cylinders and gives out silver like it's candy on Halloween, which is why I've already amassed 4 multis worth of silver just from playing the story. Now that I've talked extensively about how to assemble your crack ship team, you may be asking yourself, what is the lore and the setting for such a game with such unique characters? Well then, dear viewer, allow me to introduce you to the mythical and far-off land. It's London. The game takes place in London. I'll keep the lore section short and simple, mainly because I firmly believe if you have any interest in the game, you should experience the story for yourself. Also, I'm only 5 chapters into the story, but I'm so invested and moved by the story that I felt it was my civic duty to tell everyone to play the game. Go play the game for yourself after watching this video, because I'm funny, I think. If you would like to skip the story spoilers and experience the story for yourself, then I suggest skipping to this timestamp here to hear me poorly summarize the gameplay instead. This is your final warning. If any of my information seems incorrect or odd, just nod your head and move on. Come to London, said nobody ever, where the knife crimes are plentiful and the ketamine abundant. As if living in London wasn't already torturous enough, now the bubonic plague had its Fortnite reboot card recovered and has respawned into London, and much like me on a Friday night, has begun consuming everything in its path, including horses, the local population, and even memories. To combat this, the local university has discovered that silver can revive the dead and create spirits who can fight off and kill those infected with the plague, and using this knowledge have begun to amass an army of children and the mentally deranged. This is where you come in. You play as the Keeper, an individual with the the unique ability of being able to link with the spirits and tell them what to do like a personal militia, who are also the university's only keeper, not because you're special or the chosen one or some shit like that, but because the rest of them died in a fucking explosion at the school. You are constantly told that you are not unique and that there are plenty of others who are not only stronger than you, but also more experienced than you. In spite of this, you are constantly tasked with finding and thwarting the plans of several potentially world-ending threats that seem to only exist here in London for some reason. Must be all the ketamine. There's the Sculptors Association, a nefarious organization who kidnaps children and Full Metal alchemists them with the plague to create horrifying creatures that shouldn't exist. There's the Church of the Lightbearers, who believe that the dissolution, which is the real name of the plague by the way, is a gift and try to use it to purify sins and fucking resurrect Cthulhu. And then there's George. As you navigate through these perilous situations, you'll soon come to realize that nobody is safe in the story. Children, dead. The souls of the damned, dead. Mothers, trapped in the nth dimension with the interdimensional creature that will stop at nothing until it catches and kills its prey. No one is safe from the narrative. And that makes each page of dialogue thrilling and terrifying, since at almost any moment, any character that I have chosen to emotionally attach myself to is not safe from the whim of the developers. I have had to force myself to stop reading the story at multiple points so that I can work on this script, and as soon as this video gets published, I will most definitely be back to blitzing through as much story content as I can. Now, for a smooth segue. Have you ever played the hit card game Yu-Gi-Oh? It's a game with minute-long combos, trap cards, and most importantly, entire thesis papers on the cards that you must read before you can play them. Morimens gameplay is the exact same, except it's just the walls of text on each card. If reading the entire terms and conditions before you play a single card seems engaging to you, then join me as I take you through the dictionary that is the gameplay of Morimens. Welcome to the next part of the video. This is the part where I pretend like I know what I'm talking about, but in actuality I can barely grasp the concept of the game and die constantly. The gameplay of Mens is very simple. On one hand, your characters each start with 4 cards, a strike, a defense, and 2 unique skills. Playing these cards uses a resource called maths, and playing these cards allows you to slowly massacre the abominations before you while building up each character's ultimate. Although playing this game doesn't require to solve any math problems, it might as well be making me solve calculus problems with the way these basic encounters kick my shit in. On the other hand, before you enter a stage, you're able to equip a posse, unique skill that allows you to more efficiently run your well-oiled machine of eldritch destruction. Posses can be used once per turn and are based off of important scenes that happen in the game. My personal favorites are the game reminding you that you have schizophrenia and watching a child stand barefoot in the cold snow. These skills can range from drawing a specific card from your deck to injecting your team with fucking steroids. Having the knowledge on when to use your posse is crucial to surviving some of these fights, making them an excellent addition to your overall toolkit. On the other hand, your characters are divided into 4 different realms, each with their own unique team abilities that dynamically change how you approach each fight. There's the Chaos Realm, a well-balanced realm with characters whose overall kit focus more on utility more than anything, making them a welcome addition to any team. Their unique team ability allows you to posse twice per turn, making their utility that much more invaluable to the team. However, if you'd rather throw caution to the wind and sacrifice utility for damage, then look no further than the Karo Realm. These fucked up affronts to God possess the unique team ability of creating and consuming an embryo. I am not joking, that is an actual game mechanic in this game. Doing so allows them to charge their ultimate quicker and gain extra crit rate. Had I had known this, I too would have begun consuming embryos in real life. Who the fuck wrote this? If neither of these realms fits your playstyle, then perhaps the Aqua Realm is for you. These fish people's main mechanic came about after they all collectively watched a little too much hentai and decided, hey, we could probably use this in a fight. And by using the supplemental reading, summon tentacular manifestations to attack the enemy at the end of each turn. These characters slowly ramp up damage by increasing the amount of tentacles they spawn, as well as the damage they do, leading to turns that can completely delete the boss's HP in one go. And finally, there's the Ultra Realm. They're not, oh hey, look, a JoJo reference. Unfortunately, you can't have just one of each character in your team to benefit from all of these unique team mechanics. You can only have characters from 2 different realms at once in one team due to, conflicting ideals. I guess even with the threat of eldritch abominations, we still need a little segregation in our teams. En la otra mano, chapters consist of navigating a map made of hexagons in which you can collect relics that can either greatly enhance your gameplay or fucking give you epilepsy. But more importantly, characters can open their third eye and gain access to their arousal card. This card charges the character's ult and adds another passive ability to the character, greatly enhancing their strength through, supplemental reading, I guess. All these systems come together to create a dynamic and intense card game where at any moment's notice the boss can absolutely rip your dick off in a single turn with zero remorse, but also creates an extremely satisfying game that rewards you for taking the time to learn its systems and how they interact with each other. My personal team is called the Tentacle Engine, which consists of the child reincarnation of Cthulhu and 3 engines that help to maximize his damage, essentially creating a flaming meteor of tentacles that constantly picks up momentum throughout a fight, eventually hitting terminal velocity and snapping the boss's neck in twain. Now, as much as I have sung nothing but praise for this game, there is the unfortunate reality of this game's overall state. This game is constantly under threat of being shut down due to a lack of revenue. In spite of this, and even with the lack of funding, the devs continue to soldier forth and create such an engaging and beautiful experience that I felt it was only right that I try to encourage more people to play the game in a small effort to keep the game going. I am not sponsored by this game in any way, shape, or form, but I strongly encourage each and every one of you to download the game and try it for yourself. It literally costs you nothing. The GPT translation can be a little off-putting, but I promise that if you can manage to look past that you'll be able to experience a beautifully crafted game with one of the most compelling written stories I have personally had the pleasure of experiencing in a gacha game. There will be a link in the pinned comment for those who would like to experience the game for themselves. Now with all that out of the way, thank you for watching my video.